With the news regarding Classic TBC slowing down a little, probably until BlizzConline in February, I wanted to go over all the news, rumors and leaks that we got in recent past about Classic TBC to give you a better picture of how the expansion is more likely than not going to release, play, and feel. Will we get to keep our characters going into TBC? Which patch is the game going to be running out of? When will the game release, and what will happen with the current Classic WoW vanilla servers? Those are all questions that we're gonna answer today in this video, but to be clear, I say this in every video, and I want to emphasize on this more here. There is very little that is confirmed so far about Classic TBC. The most quote-unquote official info we got so far about TBC is a couple of Blizzard surveys that were sent in the past, but that's about it as far as official news go. However, those surveys, coupled with some very trustworthy sourced leaks that we got recently, are more than enough to paint a very clear picture of how the game is gonna feel, look, and play. And that's what we're gonna do today. So without further ado, let's get into it. So, first and foremost, will we be able to keep our characters going into TBC? The answer is yes, we very likely will, and here's why. The first survey that was sent by Blizzard was asking players whether they wanted to continue playing their characters or whether they wanted to start brand new characters from level 1/level 58 for Classic TBC. Later on, with the second and most recent survey, Blizzard did not ask this question again and presented the option for fresh Classic WoW vanilla servers in one question, and in another question asked the players whether they would play on the fresh vanilla servers more or on the TBC servers more. This highly implies that our current characters will be moved to TBC, and depending on the demand for it, we might get some fresh Classic vanilla servers along the way. Furthermore, with the recent leak that Mr. Stay Safe revealed, one of the infos that we got was that a pre-patch for Classic TBC will happen. So if a pre-expansion patch is going to happen, it obviously means that we need to be 60 to participate in it, and that our characters will then be moved into TBC with the pre-patch rewards. Again, this might not be how it's gonna turn out, but as you saw, every indication points towards the fact that our characters will be progressing into TBC. On the same vein, based on the same evidence, we can answer whether our current Classic WoW servers will be moved into TBC or stay in vanilla forever. If you're playing on Pagel US or Pyroid Village EU or any other current server right now, it's likely that those servers will transition into TBC. And this raises another question. Will players that didn't play Classic WoW and were waiting for TBC to release be able to have a fresh TBC server experience? In other words, will Blizzard release a few new servers for TBC to give the option for people to start from level 1 on an even playing field? We have no evidence for this whatsoever, but I think it's probably going to happen. However, if you're someone who was waiting for Classic TBC and never played current Classic WoW, I would suggest that you start right now. Pick a healthy populated server with a good community and start getting your character ready. Alternatively, you could wait until the pre-patch starts. This is not how it was back in the day, but I have a feeling Blizzard will offer Blood Elves and Draenei with the pre-patch, since the community is loudly asking for this change currently. And if you've been waiting for TBC to release to have a faster leveling experience throughout level 1 to 60, you need to know that the significant XP boost to 1 to 60 was only added in patch 2.3, which was way later in the expansion. I do believe that when TBC launched, the XP gain in that bracket was still raised by around 10%. But I couldn't find any evidence for this in any patch notes. So will Blizzard buff the old world XP with phase 1 of Classic TBC, or will they wait a couple more phases to mimic how it was back in the day? It's hard to say, but the point is that you shouldn't really wait to find out. If you haven't played Classic WoW yet and you're interested in TBC, now is the time to start. Not only will you have a level 60 ready when TBC releases, but you will also be able to get some powerful gear super fast in the pre-patch through the honor system that will reward rank 14 gear basically for free. Another important question to answer is which patch will TBC be based on? So, unlike vanilla WoW, TBC's patch 2.0 looked quite similar to patch 2.4. There was no significant itemization buffs or nerfs, other than the buff that certain Karazhan items received very early on, since they were weaker than most dungeon items. However, many classes, dungeons, and raids still received quite some significant changes throughout the expansion, the most infamous of which is Kael'thas, which was undefeated for a very long time until Blizzard nerfed it in patch 2.1. So the question is, with Blizzard having more data for TBC than they had for vanilla, will the game be a purely one-to-one progressive game, or will we have certain aspects based on the latest patch and other aspects progress as they did? There is simply no word at all on this, but my guess would be that Blizzard would want to offer the most polished game they can. That means that class design changes and even raid nerfs will be based on the latest patch, whereas other things like mount costs or how much badges of justice bosses drop will progress one-to-one. That's what I would guess they will go with, and them having more data to work with would only motivate them to do this more, in my opinion. With that said, I would still want to see them buff/unnerf raids to offer a more challenging raiding experience, while still fixing the bugs that surface throughout the expansion. Now, one more question, which is for many people the most important one to get answers to. What will happen to vanilla? Obviously, Blizzard asked players for their interest for classic vanilla servers and whether they would play their fresh vanilla characters more than their current classic character who will transition into TBC. But this doesn't mean that fresh is confirmed. Based on the answers Blizzard got and the demand for fresh servers, they may completely scratch the idea of releasing fresh vanilla servers. Although, in my opinion, that's very unlikely because players have been asking for it for years and years. If they just said, okay, that's it, no more vanilla, we're moving to TBC and RAT after that, and so on, that wouldn't sound right. And all they would accomplish by doing that is having a big portion of their community pissed and going back to private servers. Now, as far as keeping your character as is right now in vanilla forever, I just don't think that's going to happen. At least not yet. What is likely to happen, however, is that those fresh new vanilla servers will very likely stay in vanilla forever 2 years down the line, because the people that would be playing on those servers are basically people that chose not to play on TBC even with TBC servers releasing new. So those quote-unquote fresh vanilla servers that Blizzard is polling players on their surveys are, in my opinion, going to stay permanently in phase 6 once the server progresses up until Nax. At least that's what I think, and that's what makes the most sense to me. Let me know if you guys think that's what their plans might be too with fresh servers. And finally, the ultimate question, and surprisingly the one that we have the most solid evidence for, is the release date of Classic TBC. Nano mentioned that the beta will start in March and the game will release in May. Stay Safe Source said that the beta will be in mid-February and the game will release in May 4th. Two different trustworthy sources giving roughly the same dates. Again, I said this in my previous video, but I'll say it again here. Nothing has been officially announced yet, giving Blizzard a green light to change this date however they want. So this May 4th leaked date might still be true at the time of recording this video, but Blizzard might change it down the line for one reason or the other. But yeah, as far as Classic TBC informations, this one might be the most accurate. Even surveys aren't as accurate because they're just that, surveys. They're just asking players what they want to quantify the demand for the product. So to summarize everything, the beta for TBC will start shortly after BlizzConline is over. After that, the pre-patch will launch 3 to 4 weeks before TBC releases. TBC releases on May 4th, and we get to go through the Dark Portal with our current characters and keep them going into TBC. The game will likely be based on the latest patch of TBC, patch 2.4, with some progressive aspects like raids and PvP seasons, for example. Somewhere after TBC releases, we might get fresh vanilla servers depending on whether players answered that they are interested in it in the surveys. And finally, if they are released, those fresh vanilla progressive servers will likely stay in phase 6 permanently, and Blizzard may or may not re-release another set of fresh servers 2 years later. That's what is likely to happen, as evidenced by the surveys and the leaks we got, and what we can logically deduct. If you guys believe something I said is inaccurate, please let me know in the comments. I would love to hear what you guys think will happen instead. With that said, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel. The next 2 years are gonna be filled with TBC content on this channel, and you will definitely find some value with the future videos. With that said, whatever you do, remember to have fun, take care of yourselves and your loved ones. Bye for now.